Yeah, what's cracking, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Prison Break Raw. I'm your host, the one and only Big JD. If money could grow on trees, I'm sure you've heard that expression before, right? For many counterfeiters, money did grow on trees. They were able to reproduce this stuff, recreate it, with a couple of clicks of a computer. Some very good secure paper is what it's called, secure paper. That's what they used to make the notes. They did it in basements, a kitchen much like this, cyber cafes at Starbucks, anywhere and everywhere where they could set up a computer, run it to a printer, and recreate all the features of any kind of a banknote you can think of to pass it off as legitimate currency, and a lot of these people got away with it for a very long time. So why would it be impossible to manufacture a ballot, an election ballot, which is just simple paper? There's nothing really to it. All you would have to do was manipulate the numbers or figure out how to work the numbers, make the ballot, punch your candidate's name in there, and then deliver it to wherever it is that they go. Is it possible? I was able to talk to a couple of counterfeiters in the federal prison system around the time of the election with Trump versus Hillary Clinton. And this one guy said that if people think that they can't counterfeit ballots, they're wrong. It's probably the easiest thing in the world to do. This man had counterfeited millions of dollars in U.S. currency. There's been other people out there, famous counterfeiters, and we're going to talk to you about them, that was able to do it in various different ways and forms. Some of these guys even counterfeited wine, payroll checks, deeds to a house, auto insurance, you name it, passports, IDs, all of that shit. And they got away with it for a long time until they made a mistake and they were caught. If any of you seen that movie, Catch Me If You Can, that Frank William Abagnale Jr., he did it for a long time. And then he finally started working for the feds. But there's other ones out there. There was this guy in Canada right here. What's his name? Frank Barusa. He counterfeited $250 million. He got caught because he sold it to an undercover agent, and that's how he was apprehended. There's been other ones that have been doing it. We're going to go through the list, and I'm going to talk to you a little bit about what they did. And then we're going to correlate this. We're going to compare this and parallel it to the election and manipulating ballots. So let's start with the first one. So I mentioned that you can also counterfeit wine. Well, this guy right here, Rudy Kurniawan, proved that you can counterfeit wine. And this guy made millions doing it. He was finally caught and sent to the California Department of Corruptions and Rehumiliation. And once he gets out, if he hasn't already gotten out, he's going to be extradited back to Indonesia. But this guy did it, man. He had a cellar worth millions. And he was pushing it out there in the world and got away with it for some time. Hats are off to him because he was able to do something that a lot of people really couldn't do. How about this guy, Albert Talton? He grew to be one of America's most well-known counterfeiters. And this dude, he was born and raised in Southern California, so he's a California native. He started to pull off various different forms of bank fraud in the early 2000s. He began to produce fake currency using a HP all-in-one printer. If you can imagine that shit. And he quickly found that counterfeit detection pins were able to detect fake currency printed on normal paper, but did not work on tissue and newsprint paper. So he began using the latter to produce counterfeit notes. Did it for a long time. This dude got away with $7 million of counterfeiting money. So imagine, right? This guy counterfeited $7 million just using tissue paper and an HP all-in-one printer. And people are still going to tell me that you can't manufacture or counterfeit ballots. Okay. Moving along to another guy that counterfeited millions and millions of dollars, this guy, Art Williams. $10 million, the equivalent of $7.6 million in pounds, British pounds. Chicago native, was first taught how to make counterfeit cash by his mother's partner, a local criminal named Da Vinci, when he was a teenager. When they came out with the new bills around 96, with the holograms and everything, his old lady told them that, I bet you can't counterfeit these. So it was his mission in life to figure out how to counterfeit that, and he did it successfully. Like I said, $10 million this man has counterfeited in U.S. currency. What a lot of people don't know about the history of counterfeiting and how detrimental it's been to this country, and how much fake currency, if you funnel a bunch of it into the system, that it actually devalues the currency of any nation, and it can lead to complete economic collapse. The Nazis during World War II did it by recreating $175 million in fake currency, shoveling it into the British, into British pounds, even the U.S. They got this guy, his name was Kruger. They caught him doing it. No, he ain't Freddy Krueger. But yeah, he might as well be, because he was slashing through the system by dumping all this currency all over the place, to the point to where, I mean, it was everywhere. You definitely probably had some Nazi counterfeit currency if you were living back in those days, at least once in your life. So this guy I talked to you about, named Frank Bourassa, $250 million that he recreated. He went online. He started out by going to government websites to figure this shit out. He laughed, and still laughs today, at how much information the government actually gives out regarding its currency. Certain features, what to look for, how to look out for fakes and all that. He used that information to recreate all these bills. And the only reason that he got caught was because that he was trying to sell the currency for less. So imagine you have $10 million of fake currency that looks legit, has the smell like money, feels like money. It's that secure paper, has the holograms, has the little strips, everything in it. It passes the pin check. $10 million on the streets of counterfeit currency is worth $1 million. So if you got 250 of them, think of how much money it's actually worth. He sold to an undercover agent, and that's how he got caught. He was able to cut a deal with the Canadian officials to bypass extradition and everything else, but now he still laughs about how he walked away with some of the currency. So a lot of these things, man, a lot of these people, they were able to get away with it. Now, the thing that was taught to me about counterfeiting inside the federal prison system was how difficult and how easy it is at the same time. A couple of these guys talked about different kinds of doodle pads, going to Michael's, which is the arts and crafts place, kind of like Hobby Lobby. There's certain kinds of printers that were, the older the better, certain ones that were made before a certain year. If you can get your hands on those are the ideal methods for recreating currency. All of these things, and they were able to make millions and get away with it because literally money is accepted anywhere in any form of commerce that you have in this country or even abroad. You could take $100,000 down to somewhere like, let's say, Mexico, for example, spend it all over the place, exchange it for pesos, and use those to purchase anything, and then go back across the border and re-exchange those pesos for US dollars. You have effectively laundered your money. I knew dudes that were laundering Japanese yen, and what they were doing is they were taking it down to the currency exchange banks and flipping it for US dollars. That's how you get away with it. That's how a lot of these people have gotten away with it. So why am I bringing up counterfeiters that are in the feds and how they relate to an election ballot being counterfeited. Because it's obvious. Some of these people that have been busted for this kind of thing, some of these people that work with the federal government, you think of it, like that Frank William Abagnale that was on Catch Me If You Can. That's what the story was about. Works for them. They got many others that work for them too. When they get busted, they turn into informants and they turn into confidential informants where they're actually working undercover for the government themselves. They do this for drug dealers, arms dealers, counterfeiters as well. One thing that is no secret at all to what is going on is that how much these people hate Donald Trump. And the hatred for Donald Trump stretches into the media, into the celebrity elite power structure, because it's a family feud, like I said. The FBI, all the intelligence agencies, all the people that can, if you brought them all together, you could counterfeit some money and nobody would ever know that it was fake. Because these people are in every outlet of the U.S. government, the media, the celebrity world, the elite world. So imagine how easy it could be to manufacture, let's say, 5 million ballots. If you can manufacture $250 million, some guy that grew up in a small town in Canada was able to recreate $250 million. You don't think that the people that are in the government or in the celebrity elite power structure can manufacture ballots? You're crazy if you believe that that can't happen. Now, a lot of these lawsuits are getting thrown out. And if you go to places like Goebbels, Google, I get mixed up with Joseph Goebbels and Google all the time because they're both propaganda ministers for one side of politics. But yeah, if you go to Google, you'll see that there's no facts and there's no basis for any of this that's going on. There's no possible way to counterfeit a ballot. But I'm telling you that there is. And it's not that I'm taking a side in this. But the one thing that I always go against is when people push out these absolutes. When you come out here and you say that there's no possible way that that can happen. I'm telling you that there is, because I've been in federal prison with some of the most intelligent geniuses on the planet that were able to manipulate things in ways that you would just blow your fucking mind. People that hacked into the NSA, all kinds of stuff are in there. Kids, mostly. Some of these people, kids, man. Doing it at 17, 18, 19 years old. Breaking into the FBI, breaking into the DNC, all that shit. It's very easy to manipulate a ballot. It's very easy to get the voter rolls for people all the way back in the early 1900s that are still on the roll. Okay, because when you die, it doesn't mean that you're still listed as a registered voter, but a deceased one. Some states don't even have they don't even delete them out of the system. They're still there. They're still on the voter rolls in some of these places. They're on the deceased voter rolls, but they're on the voter rolls nonetheless. You can recreate all of these ballots and put these dead people's names on them and shoot them back out there. Millions of them. And nobody can stop you. Like I said, Frank Talton. He counterfeited U.S. currency on tissue paper, newspaper, all that shit. And he got away with it for a long time. Now I was talking to my boy Wino last night on the phone, him and his girl, about this. They're on two different sides of the political argument. What I basically told him is this. Was there voter fraud? Yes. Can I prove it? No. Were there counterfeit ballots pushed out there? Oh, I guarantee it. Can I prove it? No. You got to remember one thing, that this country, the United States, is built upon the backs of immigrants. Immigrants from all over the world have come here and became Americans. The native countries that they come from, they've been manipulating elections since the dawn of time. Since there was elections. In Venezuela, where Hugo Chavez was, he created a machine that would vote for him no matter who you voted for. You'd push the other guy, it would vote for him anyways. Now they're saying these Dominion machines come from Venezuela, but they don't. They were invented by Venezuelans, but they're not from there. And I don't know if that's the same system that he was using down there. You'll never get to the bottom of this with Google and the media hounds that suppress all this shit. But the whole point of this video right here is to tell you that yes, you can counterfeit ballots because all these people counterfeited currency for a long time and got away with it for a long time. Some of these people all the way up to the modern day. With the holograms and the little strips, yellow strips that are in there, all that stuff. The particular font that's forbidden. I mean, you can't get that font nowhere else where they print the numbers on there. That's how they know if the numbers are right. Somebody completely recreates that font and uses it. But there's been voter suppression. There's been throwing away of ballots in this country for a long time. On both sides. If you ever seen the movie Free State of Jones, when Matthew McConaughey went in there to vote, they all cast their vote on the Republican ticket. Not a single one of their votes was processed. They were all thrown away. So if you think that it can't be done, I promise you, it can be done. It is being done. There's no way we're going to be able to prove it. I mean, if they do, kudos to them. But if they don't, won't surprise me. More than likely, I'm thinking come January, the end of January, this will all be in the rearview mirror and we'll be moving forward with God knows how many days of a lockdown. Get your shit, your soups and shit ready, because more likely it's going to happen. But yeah, counterfeiting, money, currency, wine, checks, election ballots is possible. I've talked to them in prison and they told me that this is very possible. You already know what it is. You heard it right here. Prison Break Raw, uncut, uncensored, no holds barred, non-sugarcoat, non-politically correct, all up in your face, slapping you with that dick of reality. And I'm out.